energetic, passionate, and savvy. Gouche Live, brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Gouche.
Welcome to another episode of Gouche and Friends. Of course, we're doing lunch at the Bottom Line. I'm here. Wayne Cowley's in the background there. There's a nice lady there sitting and being very patient with. Don't forget to check out the Bottom Line when you can. The patio's open. We will be down there every Wednesday at lunch. We are going to be announcing some real exciting things that are going to go on over the next couple of weeks here at Gouche Live. Don't forget to check out Gouche Live Productions, YouTube, and Facebook. That's where all the shows will be able to be seen. And if you've missed one, you can go back there, of course, with the Rosen Report, the Roundtable, Gouche Live Aussie style, Gouche Live Deutsche style. There's a lot of great things going on. Apologize a little bit for my my green spot. I'm not sure exactly why that's happening, but it's called green screen. So I wanted to make sure that we weren't in too loud with the Bottom Line. So I put the green screen up. Hey, listen, lots going on. Jordan Laroche is going to join us later on today. We're going to be talking about the mock draft. As you know, tonight, the expansion draft is at 8 o'clock p.m., but there's already a bunch of stuff that has gone on, and we're certainly going to bring you some of that because it's really, really fascinating what is actually going on. So I'll let you in on some of the things that are happening right now. Before we get started into the actual news that's going on, I want to talk about some things. Of course, the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated have helped us put all this stuff together. Stephen Ellis, who we'll have on Friday's show to talk about the entry draft, not the expansion draft, but the entry draft. He'll be coming and giving his predictions, and his expertise is one of the best at being able to look at the junior players coming up and where he feels they fit in that draft. And Owen Powers, I know, is one of the guys that's sitting at the top of the list. But here's something really important to understand before we get into the details. The 6 most intriguing NHL players. Think about this. These guys were left unprotected. Vladimir Tarasenko from the St. Louis Blues. This guy's a stud. It's not surprising that they've left him unprotected. He's made it very clear that he's disappointed that there wasn't a deal done for him. So we know that that has happened. But more importantly, after winning the Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues, him having his injuries, he's had 3 shoulder surgeries. He just didn't seem to fit in. And things didn't go well for him last year. And I know he let people know that he was disgruntled and they were trying to make a deal, but they didn't get one done. So they've left him unprotected. We're going to walk through that, of course, as this day goes on. Does he get selected by the Seattle Kraken? And there are already things that are being brought out on TSN and ESPN. I'm obviously got a bunch of guys out in the field throwing us stuff to understand what is going on. So I'll give you my quick little mock draft. I know Jordan's put his together later on today. I'm going to have Brad Barco join us. And then, of course, Paul Rosen with his thoughts. The second guy that was really surprising, and we're going to hear more about this, Carey Price. Why would the Montreal Canadiens even put him on there? I was shocked, as everybody was. But there's some things that go on behind the door. And Carey Price has been mentioned to say, listen, I've got a little bit of an injury. We know we're going to blow those injuries up. So the Kraken won't even take a look at it. His cap hit's going to be big. If you want to do a big splash, and Jerry Bruckheimer is known to do that, he put a lot of money out for this franchise. Why wouldn't you take Carey Price? But Carey did say, listen, you got to protect Jake Allen. We need him on our team. We know that they won't take me for the simple fact that, I've got a knee injury and my cap hit's going to be large. I would have taken him. I would have thrown everything at it. And right now we are hearing that there was a side deal done and that he is not going to be picked up tonight at 8. How do you know? Like, what's going on? What happens when I say he's not going to be picked up at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard tonight? They're the first to pick him. That'd be unbelievable. Going to Colorado, Gabriel Landeskog has already let us know that he's not happy in Colorado. He wanted to get things done. The captain has soured with the Colorado Avalanche. I'm not really understanding how Joe Sakic wouldn't have put that together because it's really kind of confusing for me. So I'm hoping that gets done and he doesn't get picked up and he stays in Colorado, but he is unprotected. So these are the 6 that are really kind of questioning. That's the third. The fourth one is PK Subban. He was in Nashville. Things just didn't work out there. He went to New Jersey Devils. The guy's still a very predominant defenseman, plays a lot of minutes. But we do not understand at 32 years old why he's fallen out of favor with the New Jersey Devils. I know there's a bunch of notes here that say it, but we believe that his price is going to be too high for the Seattle Kraken. And they've said they're going to be responsible when dealing with the draft. So we're really looking forward to hear what's going on there. But to notice that he was being exposed by the Devils was notable. Through his career, he has been an incredible offensive defenseman. He can pick that puck up, bring it out like no other. And so we're going to see what's going on. I think the Kraken are at least going to look at the motor under the hood and see if he's somebody they're going to have to give up a lot of money on their cap space, but he certainly puts a legitimate that blue line. But here's the one I think it's already been determined. We'll find out in a few minutes. Mark Giordano from the Flames. We all heard it. 37 years old. The Kraken are taking him because they want him stabilizing that defenseman, but also probably being their first captain overall. His cap hit's about 6.75. A little bit of money for a 37-year-old, but we will be looking at what's going on out here, and we'll find out if, in fact, there are any details. I'm just scrolling through right now. Kraken, okay, we'll keep. All right, some other things that are going to go on that I'll bring you. All right, so fifth overall, thinking that, wow, why would you see Mark Giordano leave the Calgary Flames? But obviously he feels, or Seattle feels, he's the type of player they need to give that maturity on the blue line. And as I mentioned, would probably be their captain to start it off. And this one's also really surprising. Yanni Gourde, Tampa Bay Lightning. This guy's a stud. Why would you leave him unprotected? I know there's a bunch of other guys that are on it, and I'll give you that list, and we'll go walk through it really quickly. He's a guy, his cap hit's going to be about $5.1 million. Kind of surprised on that one a bit. But here's how it breaks down. Teams must protect either 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie, or 8 skaters, forwards and defense, plus 1 goalie. So they've got an opportunity to kind of pick and choose how they want to do it. Players with no move clauses must be protected, though a player can waive it. We've heard about that on a couple of occasions, so that we know about. And then rookies, second-year players, and unsigned draft picks cannot, let me underline that, cannot be selected by the Seattle Kraken. So here it is. Here's some of the players, 30 teams. Anaheim Ducks. Kevin Shattenkirk, defenseman. Why didn't they protect him? He's one of the notables. Connor Clifton from the Boston Bruins. Great rugged defenseman, picked up a lot of minutes. Are they going to lose him? Buffalo Sabres, we know what went on in that train wreck. And now Jeff Skinner has been exposed, as are a couple of other players, but that's the one that really stands out. Carolina Hurricanes. Neo Niederreiter, left winger. Love this guy. Great player, two-way player. Really like what he can do for a team. Would Seattle pick him up? Columbus, we've heard this. Max Domi didn't really do what they needed him to do in Columbus, so I don't think there's any love lost there. Good player. I think he's got a lot of potential, but I think what they've done there is they basically have heard that he's got he's got an injury and may not start the season. So that may turn the Seattle Kraken against that one. Of course, we already talked about Mark Giordano by the Calgary Flames. Dallas Stars, he's let us know that he's available. Ben Bishop, of course, goaltender. Vladimir Nemesnikov. Little rough on those Russian names. Sorry about that. Detroit Red Wings. I like this kid. I don't know why they'd even be having him left available. Again, you can only protect so many players, and general managers and coaches see maybe different than a fan who's watching the game. So I'd question that one. We've already heard from the Florida Panthers. Chris Streeter. I don't know if the deal's been done. I think it's very close. If it hasn't been done, 3 years, $10.5 million. A great steal for Kraken, but he's only played 38 games, so you got to take a peek at that and see. There's also another bona fide goaltender, Jonathan Quick, There's a great name. Certainly can bring a lot to an organization. We talked about Montreal Canadiens. Their big one was, of course, Carey Price. I have just been informed, Kraken Expansion Draft Live blog, Price is staying in with the Canadiens. We all knew that coming, but certainly would have been making headline news. Of course, we know the PK Subban, Nashville, Ryan Johansson, and this one, I've taken him. He's got to be, if they haven't already signed for him, it's Matt Duchene. I want this kid on my hockey team. You know what the difference is? We don't know all the inner makings. There are side deals being made as we speak. Ron Francis is a smart dude. He's going to make sure that he's talking to all the general managers and saying, listen, you don't want to give up Price. What are you giving for me for not to pick him? Because they have to obviously protect only a certain amount of players. And that's what's going on here. So really, really excited about it, what they're going to do if Matt Duchene will end up as a Seattle Kraken assistant captain, automatic. New York Islanders, Josh Bailey, love this kid. Jordan Eberle hasn't really been the guy that was in Edmonton. I think he needs maybe a new scenery, and that would be a perfect match for that. Another goaltender, obviously in Ottawa, Matt Murray, was going to be the future, just hasn't shown that prowess that is needed from his days in Pittsburgh. So they have left him. Philadelphia Flyers, James Van Riemsdyk, steady. I'm surprised that they left him unprotected, but I think they're going to go with Jacob Voracek. Great player, man. Again, as a right winger, you're not going to find top 10, 15 right wingers in the National Hockey League. Kind of questioning why that he was left off. St. Louis Blues, we know about the Tarasenko situation. Tampa Bay, Yanni Gourde, I've already spoken about that. Tyler Johnson, not a surprise. Obviously, John Cooper loves him. He's been with them the whole time. But sometimes change of scenery. He's won 2 Stanley Cups back-to-back. Here's a great opportunity for Tyler Johnson to go off and have an opportunity with a new franchise. Seattle's a great place to live, as is Tampa Bay. So I don't think that would be much of a swing for Tyler Johnson. I could see that happening. Alex Killorn, left winger. Love this guy. Obviously, he was hurt in the playoffs. He's just one of those guys that's always there, always present, gives everything, gritty. So I'm really excited about seeing whether or not they lose either Killorn or Gourde. I'm not sure which one is going to be lost there. Toronto Maple Leafs, we have heard they traded for Jared McCann. Pittsburgh Penguins, left winger, like this guy, can play the game two-way. Then the other one that's was left unprotected, centerman, Alex Kerfoot. There's, I know McDermott's also. I'm just wondering that they don't go with Jared McCann. I'm not sure why Toronto would have traded for him and then left him unprotected. Is it the deflection not to lose Kerfoot because they're really happy with him as a centerman? We will see that tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Vancouver Canucks, there's a couple Holtbys on the list, but Jake Virtanen, right winger, like this guy too. I think he needs a new scenery. I think Vancouver and all the problems they had through the pandemic, and of course what happened at the end of the season, he just was not the player we know he is. So I'm looking forward to see if he would end up in a Seattle jersey. And the final team, obviously Washington, Connor Sheary, like this guy. Obviously I liked him in his Pittsburgh Penguin days. Again, another left winger. We didn't hear a lot of defensemen in this list that were left open that are kind of the prestige where they're looking, kicking the tires and making sure. So really excited to see who goes from the Washington Capitals. Another thing is I want to, just before leave, obviously it's lunch with Gouche and friends at the Bottom Line. Wayne Callie's serving up some chicken wings. Make sure you check it out. He is open. He's got a great patio that we've been on most of the year already. So make sure you check it out when you come down here. Some of the other notables that I really think that were left unprotected. Arizona Coyotes, Christian Fisher, a forward. I like this guy. Anaheim Ducks, Hayden Fleury, a defenseman, again, a nice, solid defenseman that has a great future. We already talked about Giordano. The Hurricanes obviously left open Jake Bean. Wow. Chicago Blackhawks, Nikita Sidorov. I'm not a big Chicago Blackhawks fan, as Paul is. I'm sure we're going to be talking to him today. I really like that player. I've only heard through Paul that he's a big fan of him. So we'll see what goes on in Chicago. Surprising in Colorado, we already mentioned, obviously the Landeskog, but let's say forward JT Kemper. He's a good one. He's a two-way solid player. And I don't think Seattle's going to be able to pick up Landeskog. God, what a captain. Holy macalarchy. If he went there, it'd be a toss-up between him and Giordano. But I think the smaller cap hit at 3.5, I think Seattle's going to look at Kemper and take him because that's who they can build their season around. Columbus, we've already talked about Max Domi. Another one in the Red Wings organization, Troy Stecher. We saw him at the World Championships. I like this kid. I think he's going to be a stud back on that defense. And I think Red Wings, having him exposed is kind of a questionable one. Edmonton Oilers, Tyler Benson. Forward, we've already heard in Florida, Chris Driedger. So that's pretty much some of the surprising ones that I looked at. Los Angeles Kings. Not only, of course, the goaltending situation, Carl Gunström. Forward, I like him. I think he's got a lot of potential. Again, they're trying to build a team quickly that's competitive. And if you get a guy like Los Angeles Kings, Gunström, you're getting a solid forward. Another goaltender that's on the market, I know we're going to talk to Paul a little bit about this, is Kaapo Kähkönen. Like him. I know Jordan's really high on him, and he thought that he would end up being the second goaltender. They got Chris Driedger. I'm thinking Chris Driedger, and I love him. You know that. He's been on some of my tours in Australia. Actually, the last 3, dynamite. Everything about this kid is solid. But I'm not sure he's a 1A goaltender right at this moment, especially for an expansion franchise. So I'm wondering if they took Chris Driedger as that 1B, and they're now looking to fill that 1A, and I think Kähkönen is not that guy. But we may be able to see if they pick up another solid goal. You got Ben Bishop, and you've also got, of course, our friend Carey Price. It could happen. Hey, listen, don't forget, we are on at 4 o'clock today. I just see Jordan coming on, and we are doing 4 o'clock. I'm just warming us up at the bottom line, getting to make sure that people know Gouche, Lunch with Gouche and Friends at the Bottom Line, brought to you by the good people at the Bottom Line, Wayne Kelly, and, of course, the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. We're formulating everything up for the 4 o'clock show that allow us to really dig in deep and give you what we hear. And there's already things going on behind the scenes, and we'll certainly bring that up. How about the Montreal Canadiens? Let's take the Carey Price story out of the way. I'm not sure he's going to be considered. They've said he's not, but you never know until the 8 p.m. show gets started. We do not know. But the other one is Brett Kulak. I'm not a huge fan of Kulak. I know he's good size, but he's got 1 year left on a contract that only sees him being paid $1.85 million. So that cap hit is nice. He's 27 years old. Defensemen usually, they come around about, 25 to 28 is really that time when you see a defenseman mature. I think he's ready. He needs ice time, and I think if he goes to Seattle, it could definitely be a big pickup. We've got a lot more here to go by. Obviously, the Predators, who are they going to let? Who are the Seattle Kraken going to pick up? I think Matt Duchene. We'll hear if there's some side deals done, so Matt is going to stay there. But I'll tell you what, he's the guy you want on your club. And, of course, New Jersey Devils. Think about that for a second. We talked about PK Subban. Will Butcher is up. Again, another good defenseman, solid defenseman, and he would certainly help that team. New York Islanders. We talked about Jordan Eberle. I think that's a good pick for them. I like this kid. This kid actually came to us from the New York Rangers, had a good season. I know that Jordan's really high on him. Colin Blackwell. We had Colin Blackwell in Australia. He got hurt right off the bat. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to show how great he was. And then last season with the New York Rangers, he certainly showed us. I would take him. If I got an opportunity, I'm taking Colin Blackwell from the New York Rangers. Chris Tierney for the Ottawa Senators. Forward, we also heard Matt Murray. Philadelphia Flyers. I'm grabbing this guy if I can get him. James Van Riemdijk. I know that Jordan's working right now trying to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. So at 4 o'clock, we'll be bringing that to you live. We'll also, Jordan and I will kick the show off. We'll be talking about all the things that are going on. And then we'll bring up Brad Barco and, of course, Paul Rosen for us to talk about their thoughts after we've kind of analyzed it all. So I'm excited about seeing if James Van Riemdijk goes from the Philadelphia Flyers. Zach Aston Reese from the Pittsburgh Penguins, great gritty forward, like him. Ryan Donato from the San Jose Sharks. Again, a very good, solid forward. St. Louis Blues also, we know the Tarasenko story, not sure where that's going, but we do know that Vince Dunn, a good gritty defenseman, is available. Dunn is that type of defenseman you can build around for the future. He's only 24, and so I think he's going to fit in really nicely. We've already talked about the Tampa Bay Lightning. My goodness. Yanni is my kind of player. I love the grit. He's obviously got 2 Stanley Cups behind him. I think they're really going to like him because of the fact that, he's got that experience winning a Stanley Cup. Listen, Seattle Kraken are not going to vie for the Stanley Cup like the Las Vegas Golden Knights did, getting into the playoffs deep. I think the Seattle Kraken are going to field a very good team, but not a team that maybe even make the playoffs. Final parts, we talked about McCann, great two-way player. I think he's probably going to be picked up. McCann is cheaper, younger than Kerfoot, and I think he's a little bit better, in my opinion. Cole Lind, don't know anything about him. I've seen him on the list a couple times from the Vancouver Canucks. Really excited to find out what's going to happen with the Vancouver Canucks, because we do know that Virtanen is also available. And the Washington Capitals, goaltender, Vitek Vanacek. Again, we saw him in the playoffs. I think he's got a very good prospect. He's a young netminder with a little bit of NHL experience. You've got, of course, don't forget our friend Dreger already there. Do they go out and get a solid bona fide? Do they make trades to get one? Or do they go with this young, with Holtby still in the play, but, Kakinen out of the Wild and Vanacek? That would be 2 really dynamic young goaltenders, along with Chris Dreger. What a great threesome there as far as the goaltending situation for the Kraken. All right, final team, of course, is my Winnipeg Jets. Dylan DeMello, defenseman. I think they're going to take him. I know that Appleton's up, great player for the Winnipeg Jets. I like his grittiness. I love the fact that he is there, and I'm excited about that. But here it is. Dylan DeMello will go, mark my words, he will be taken by the Seattle Kraken. He is a defenseman that you can put on maybe 3 or 4 spot, and he will be definitely somebody that you want to have on your hockey team, especially if you've got Mark Giordano leading the back end. He's not going to play the type of minutes as a 1-2, so Giordano's probably going to be that 3 or 4 slot. And you know what? Jordan is in Victoria. He was supposed to take the day off until tonight, but he's coming on now. Let's listen to Jordan out in Victoria, BC. I think he's up in the bush somewhere at a cottage. Really excited about having him on for the last couple of minutes here as we break it down. There's a lot of things being released. I don't know where they're getting this information. Maybe Jordan can let us know what's happening. How do they get these behind the scenes things, or who they're talking to? Because even some of these names that we mentioned, they may end up picking somebody that you and I never thought about, even though there's a Tarasenko's there and we all think they should take it, or Carey Price, which we know is not going to happen. Ron Francis may have made a deal with the Montreal Canadiens, say, listen, we're not going to take Price, but what are you giving for me? So they may get a draft pick. They may get somebody in the minors. We don't know that. Or they open up another player in a trade. Really kind of cool. And of course, it happened in Vegas. We know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but not for the Kraken. Everything is available. So we're just waiting here for a few minutes to see if Jordan will join us. I've already got his mock draft. We're not going to talk about that now. We will see how right he was. I've got mine set up. We will see how good I did. And I want to just go back at it and let you know what the rules are. One player from each team of the 30 teams must be taken. So they have to take one player. The Kraken must draft a minimum of 14 forwards, 9 defensemen, and 3 goaltenders out of the list, the unprotected list that's available to them. There must be at least 20 players under contract for the 21-22 season. Very important. Seattle has to stay between 60 to 100% of the salary cap with a minimum of $48.9 million. That's the floor. They can't go anything below that, and they cannot go over the maximum, which is $81.5 million. Hey, listen, really lucky to have Jordan join me. We had a little bit of a malfunction here this morning trying to get everything organized at the bottom line. Here he is, all the way from Victoria, Jordan Laroche, my producer.
Hey,
Jordan,
Gouche.
what's going on?
I'm sorry about that. I think we had a little bit of a miscommunication there,
No,
but
not your fault, because I was waiting to see at 4:00 is where we're going to know a lot more. I didn't realize. I told we wanted to do 12 o'clock with our buddy Wayne Cowley. I was there last night, so I said I'd show up. And this morning I had the worst morning in the world. Went golfing with my buddy. He asked if you would join us, and I told him you couldn't because Pat had said, "Hey, your buddy can come and golf with us." This morning you couldn't because you're in Victoria. We do
well, actually,
9
we
holes
went yesterday, so
okay, good. I see your nose is burnt.
yeah.
Can you believe it? I did 9 holes with him, and on the 7th hole, I lost my phone.
No.
And we checked the iPhone, find my iPhone. It wasn't turned on. So I drove all the way home to get my iPad to try and figure things out. Typical Gouche fashion. I got through the 9 holes and panic set in. Had to phone Tony, as you know, Tony, and it was ugly. I got spanked. It was really bad. I get a phone call from the golf course. I just went back and got it. So I didn't get down to the bottom line. So you're seeing a green screen. That's why I'm on right now, because I got to apologize to the bottom line. But we'll be bringing at 4:00. You and I are going to go extensively through this before Paul's going to join us after it. And then Brad's going to come up. They want to be a part of it. But you and I will talk through our mock draft, which I've got yours. You can't change it now.
Yep.
Okay. I will show. I won't change mine either. I'll be very honest, because I did pick Carey Price. So I know that that's not going to happen. So if you don't mind, pick it up really quickly for us. Tell us what's going on, because I've seen things going here that's saying Carey Price is not going. Is that true?
Yeah. So the way it looks right now, the 3 goalies for Seattle are going to be Chris Driedger, Vitek Vanacek, and a guy from Ottawa. I'm just trying to find it right now. Joey Daccord from Ottawa.
Oh, that's right. That's the young kid that came in, won his game, and then hurt his knee, and he was gone for the season, eh?
That's right.
Okay. So are these official? This is official. Like, so at 8:00 tonight, we don't even have to watch. You've already heard it right here with Jordan.
Yeah, I got more. I got more for you.
Okay, good. Listen, just before you go, just hang on before you tell us any more. Bobby B's here, and I was explaining, you heard what the rules are, right? And Bobby B was asking this question, and I think it's an important one, and maybe you have the answer. If not, Bobby, at 4:00 we are on, and we'll have all these answers for you. Was about to ask how it works when it comes down to the expansion draft, which I just told him. Can teams trade a player drafted to an expansion team on the day of?
Yeah, they can be. We saw that with Vegas when I think Mark Matheau. There was 1 or 2 other trades that Vegas made right on the same night as the expansion draft. So,
all right. So when you come back at 4:00, if you can give us just any more of those insights, because I have had some questions, and I think a first and second round year player cannot be picked up by the Seattle Kraken. So that's really important. And of course, a player can only waive his no movement contract, then he could have been in the expansion draft, which we heard before. But they cannot pick a player who does have a no movement clause if he has not stated that he would move. All right, let's get into it. What's happened while I was asleep?
All right, so Justin. So Toronto didn't want to lose Justin Holl, so that's kind of why they made the move for Jared McCann. And so the Toronto's kind of just rolling the dice, seeing if they would take Kerfoot or McCann, and they just went with McCann.
Yeah.
So Jared McCann from the Leafs is now on Seattle.
So if I don't mind, I was listening to the program driving back from the golf course as I was sweating because I couldn't find my phone. I heard somebody say, "Why did Toronto do that? Like, why would you trade and give him up? Because you could have, you didn't need to do that. You just brought in a guy to move him." And I guess, as you say, they didn't want to give up the whole story. So yeah. Okay, maybe makes sense. All right, what else you got?
So Mark Giordano, I think everyone kind of saw this one coming, but now that's confirmed. Could be a captain for them next year, but I'm here with a lot of Flames fans right now, and they're all pretty happy to see him go. So,
well, you know what? Yeah, and you can say that, but you also got to take it on the other side. I think Calgary Flame fans would like to see a lot of guys go. Giordano's a good, steady 37-year-old veteran who knows how to play the game, and he's a captain. So, putting an older guy, he's not going to be one or two on that team, right? He's probably going to be slotted in the third and fourth spot and be a very good captain, and he can lead that back end, which is going to need, you're probably going to get some younger defensemen on there. You're going to want a wily veteran, and Mark Giordano is a professional. Like, this guy is the consummate professional. It didn't work out in Calgary, but last couple of years, but we know why. That whole team was a disaster. If anybody was more disappointing than Buffalo Sabres, I'm going to say Calgary Flames were right in there 1-2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Calgary Flames, let me just say this. Calgary Flames, Giordano's laughing himself out of that city. What a great place to go, just down the road from Calgary, but it's a pretty city. So I think I don't think he's very disappointed.
Yeah, and then just so when it came to Nashville, they were kind of looking at Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene, but just with the cap, they're both a little too expensive. So they're actually going with the guy who I went with, Carl Yarncroc.
There was a lot of mention of him through all the paperwork that I've been going through. Ron Francis really liked him. Again, one of the things that people don't realize, it does come down to cap space, right? People are always thinking, wow, Ovechkin's name was out there, Tarasenko's name's out there. We don't know where that's all going to be. The Carey Price, if you wanted to make a splash, Jordan, right? You want to make a splash, that's the guy to go to. Right. All of a sudden, especially with Jerry Bruckheimer, the Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp, he would do that. And I thought he would go that route. But of course, it just doesn't fit in because they can't go over 81.5. Right. That's the max. And I think the ceiling, the floor is at 48. And have you heard whether or not they're going to go all the way? Are they going to spend the extra?
I think it'll be tough for them not to. Because most of these guys they'll be getting are around the 4 or 5 million mark. They'll have like one or two that are right at the cap, like the max contract. But a lot of teams now, they have the whole minor league system that's on their payroll too. So you kind of have to factor that in with Seattle. Seattle's not going to have that right off the bat. Right.
So then. The reason why they wouldn't have gone with Duchene, there's another, I wouldn't call him a franchise player, but he's got a lot to prove. He wants to come and have a good couple of seasons. Why wouldn't they go with him? Like, just, is it only cap?
That's kind of what they said, because I think Ryan Johansson would have been a great pick as well. He's good on both special teams. He's defensively responsible, and it's like. But I do like Yarncroc. I'm coming out of that though. He was great in the playoffs. He's a good little player. He's good offense, good defense. So I'm happy with that pick for them.
I'm going to spoil it a little bit for you. You picked Vanacek. He's there. Yep. You also picked Yarncroc. He's there. You also picked Chris Driedger, which we all did. We knew he was going to end up there. You also picked our friend Giordano. You're doing pretty good, kid.
I know. I was a little disappointed because I heard they were trying to sign Jaden Schwartz and Dougie Hamilton, but those kind of fizzled out because they had this little exclusivity period into free agency.
Right. All right. Are there any other breaking news right now before we come back at 4:00 to kind of, lay down our mock drafts? I know that the Kraken, obviously the Toronto Maple Leafs have lost Jared McCann. He probably didn't even go over the border, right? He's probably just now flying over to Seattle rather than that. One of the things that you did not mention, and I know he's on your list, Adam Larson's already signed. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is right now, but
it's 4 years. I think it's 4 years, 16 mil. So he's got $4 million a year, which is a pretty.
That's a good contract for him. He's really responsible defensively. He won't provide a ton of offense, but he was great for Edmonton, and I think he's going to be one of the strong core for Kraken.
All right, let me just, as we let you go, I know that you were barbecuing last night. I saw the chicken wings. Can't wait to get back here because I want to. It's probably a special recipe. Don't give out what you did with them. They looked absolutely amazing. But I just want to say, any chance with Landeskog? Do you think there's any chance he'll go anywhere?
Because again, they just had this little exclusivity window. I don't think it'll happen. Even reports have come out today and said that Landeskog couldn't really reach a deal with them.
Eichel or Skinner?
I haven't seen anything on that yet, but they're still both signed right now.
Okay, your thoughts maybe? I'm just asking for your thoughts because there's a lot of names. I've been going through reports and listening to people. Yeah, how many different guys are going this way and that way? The one guy that intrigues me is Subban, PK Subban. Nashville, he was kind of the go-to guy. Everybody loved him. A lot of people said, just as what you said about Giordano, there were a lot of people that didn't really like him in Montreal. He's a little bit different guy in the dressing room. Gets to Nashville, kind of the same thing. He's a really flamboyant, out there kind of guy. Some guys don't like that, right? They just shut up and play. We don't need all the pomp from you. And so I think he wore his welcome out in Nashville. Then he went to New Jersey. Again, he just hasn't been the PK Subban. Do you think a fresh start in Seattle is where he may end up?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about New Jersey or PK Subban yet, but I considered it on my pick. I don't remember if I picked him or not, but he was kind of like a slosh in there right up until the end. So I think he still could go.
Okay, so here's the deal. When you come back on at 4:00, you and I are going to go into it. I've got your list. I've got my list. And I'll be honest, I won't cheat you. I've got yours. You don't have mine yet. But we'll see how close we are. And, of course, tonight we'll find that out. Listen, a couple comments. Your Pops is joining in. Crazy to lose Larson. Get Keith. Bad offset. Then, of course, you get Jordan. You look too cool, way too cool, relaxed in vacay mode. Have fun, buddy. And then Bobby B comes in and says, think Lucic will go? Well, they're only allowed to pick one, right?
Yeah, unless they trade him. He's still signed, too.
Is there any rumors out there of any trades, anything that you've heard that maybe will be a surprise before we get on at 4:00? Listen, there's a lot of breaking news coming every second I'm looking here.
Here's a rumor. So Pierre LeBrun said if the Kraken takes Vladimir Tarasenko, there's a lot of teams that want him. So they'll make a trade for Tarasenko if Seattle can retain some of that salary. Because he's like a $7 million cap hit, and that's just it's a lot to ask for someone who has the same injured shoulder.
Listen, just in the Oilers have agreed to a 2-year deal with Mike Smith. I thought you and I were talking about that. So that is they lock him up for 2 years. Now I think they're going to be on the prowl to find a younger, more dynamic goaltender than what they had last year as his backup. Or, again, I talked about the Chris Driedger last thing on goaltenders because I know you are a goaltender. Is he 1A, 1B? Mike Smith in Edmonton? Do they need to look at somebody that's going to take him to that next level? I was thinking about Chris Driedger. Now, just end it with this. Chris Driedger, is he the 1A? and then those two young kids that you had mentioned that are going to be there. I guess Vanacek.
And I think Vanacek will be the 1B,
Right.
just because. And then they'll probably wait for. Okay, I can't remember his name already. The kid from Ottawa. The Cord, yeah. They'll probably wait for him to develop a year or two, and maybe they could trade a goalie or, try and roll with two for now. But they got three goalies in there, and it's I think this team's gonna be really good.
I'm really excited for Chris Streeter. He's one of my favorite people. He's been on the Ice Hockey Classic Tours 3 years in a row. Can't be more happy for a guy. Got a great deal, 3 years, 10.5 mil on that. So great for him. All right, Jordan. Listen, I'll let you get back to. You're probably sleeping because it's pretty early over there. So I can't wait to see you at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. We will be ready for you. I got my list. I know your list, and then we'll have Paul from the Journey. Paul Rosen and Bart Barco join us so that we have Brad Barco join us and we can really dig into some of the things. And I guarantee in 3 hours, there's going to be a lot of changes. Final point to you, Jordan.
I'm excited for tonight. We think about how Vegas came out of their first year, making it to the NHL Finals, and I think this Seattle team is going to be even better than Vegas was.
Do you really? I thought they were. I don't think they're going to be. I think they're going to struggle to be a playoff team. That's my situation. We'll talk about that this afternoon. All right, Jordan. Thank you, buddy. Always a pleasure having you on. Thanks for doing all the research behind the scenes and bringing up some of the breaking news for us.
Thanks, Gouche.
See you, buddy. Hey, always a pleasure to have Jordan on. Looking forward to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do not forget it. All brought to you by those good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated. Wayno, thank you for the chicken wings. Look forward to seeing you next week.
You've been listening to Gouche Live with your host, Carey Goulet, better known as The Gouche, brought to you by the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated.